You're listening to Two Babies in a Business, a podcast about business, marketing, growth, strategy, staff, clients, babies, marriage. I'm Christina. This is Peter. We're founders and leaders of CIPR Communications. And Peter, we have a special guest today, a bonus
special guest episode.
The most special guest, Caitlyn Murphy.
Hey, Cailin.
Hi, how are you guys?
We're doing wonderfully well. How are you?
Very good. Thank you for having me.
Of course. Cailin, I feel like you're like a bit of the mastermind behind the podcast because you really do all the heavy lifting for us, making sure these get up and out and spread around. So first, thank you, because without you, we couldn't do this.
So maybe we should kind of tell everybody who Cailin is.
I guess so. I feel like I already know her, so we could skip that, but I guess we shouldn't. Peter, who's Cailin?
So Cailin is one of the fine employees of CIPR Communications. Cailin handles most of our content. She's our content queen. And as a result of that fantastic title that I just made up, it means that she manages a lot of the social media for a lot of our clients, including our own social media. So she develops a lot of content around social media, around blogging, and any other kind of content we need.
All the things.
All of the things. So I think Cailin's been with us for a
year and a bit. I think it'll be 2 years in May.
Yeah.
2 years in May. Wow. Time flies. That's amazing.
It was, yeah.
Cailin, what do you enjoy about CIPR and your role, I should say?
No, I always come back to this answer, but I really do love the people that I work with. I'm so happy that I landed here right after graduation. CIPR scooped me up, and yeah, it's been really great learning experience. I couldn't be happier.
Nice.
Me too.
Me three.
Like Peter said, you obviously handle a lot of social for our clients. And I remember like when CIPR was just me and handling a lot of social for clients, I often would feel like, oh, I wish they understood this, or I wish they understood that. And what's one thing, as you're kind of thinking about social media for 2021, what's one thing that you wish that people understood when they come to an agency for social?
Just one, hey? I would say that they have to understand that it's a process and you have to stick to the strategy. It's so easy to get into the trap of focusing on metrics and like the follower vanity. But it's important that they understand that it's an ongoing process, that if you have a high number of followers, that doesn't necessarily mean a high engagement or a conversion. It's that consistently showing up and showing your value for your audience that's really going to convert.
Yeah. I love that pointer on strategy too, because I think we see, Peter, we've just kind of talked about this for 12 episodes, but like the importance of starting with a solid foundation. And I think often people will say, okay, let's like do Facebook or throw this up, or, you know, I love your approach, Cailin, in terms of really thinking through what's the bigger picture of this post. And I think that, you know, people often forget that, you know, a post could be telling an entire story about something.
For sure. Yeah.
So speaking of that, what goes into creating content every month? Give us a little like look into how the sausage is made.
Well, like I said, it's also a process. I like to start thinking about content for clients usually a month in advance if I can. Some clients, it will be on a week-to-week basis. It really depends. But I always start off with that strategy. Really that big picture, the type of content, the themes, kind of collect all of that. It's a very collaborative process. So you'll work with me, probably a project manager, get all of the things, all the pieces that we need. After that, just get to work. All the copywriting gets done. If there's graphics that need to be done, video that needs to be done, I'll do that as well. After that, I get another second set of eyes on it internally. and then it gets sent to the client for their approvals, and then it gets scheduled, and then the audience gets to see it all. So it's a very long process, but sometimes it gets turned out quite quickly. It kind of all depends.
I was kind of leaving a space for Peter there. He looked like he was going to say something.
I was just going to say the other thing is, and it doesn't matter if you're working with an agency or if you have a person in-house, is like it's iterative, right? Like an agency or a person in-house or even you won't necessarily get it right the first time, and it's going to kind of improve over time. And you can't sort of look at one post and be like, oh my God, that's not what I want. It's like it's an iterative process, and sometimes you need to take away your personal biases away because everybody views things differently as well. And so I think back to the strategy conversation, it's like, what are your goals? Are you achieving those goals? If one person in your company, often the CEO, the president, or somebody of influence, criticizes one post or a couple posts that they don't like necessarily a piece of it, but you're achieving your goals and maybe your target audience isn't necessarily the 60-year-old white man that is looking at those posts, just as an example. Okay. It's a hard conversation, but that's the reality. If your target audience is somebody different and it's resonating with that somebody different, then you need to put your biases, your personal biases and objections aside a little bit and understand whether you're meeting your goals. And I think that's an important, harder conversation, but an important conversation.
Totally.
Okay, so on that note, Cailin, I'm totally putting you on the spot and making you play a little bit of favorites, but what is one social media client that CIPR currently has that you're really proud of that you'd want people to go check out?
Definitely Alberta Ballet School. I've been so impressed with how they've handled their closures, their openings. They had to transfer all their programming online, and they've still managed to put out valuable, engaging content, which has been so great. They're a dream to work with regardless, but I've been very, very proud of them.
There you go. Way to go, Leah and Catherine. We love you.
Yeah, that's one I always point to as well when I'm in the sales process and talking about social media. I think it's beautiful, and you've done a great job, I think, capturing their feel and their look and their colors and all that kind of stuff. But I think one important thing for me when I look at something like an Alberta Ballet School too is that they invest in photography and they invest in content, right?
Which makes a huge difference.
Right. And, not every company can invest the way they do. And obviously different brands, it's like visual is very important for a ballet school. And so, but it shows, right? It immediately shows the quality of photography and the quality of the detail that they put in, makes the whole thing pop, right? So I think it's an important piece. And it's something I know I'm talking lots because it's what I do. Interestingly, like content development is something that seems to be a little bit trending more towards in-house in terms of people hiring in-house for that. And that doesn't mean you can't work with an agency to kind of bring your content to life, like Alberta Ballet School does. And that's really the role Cailin plays, is takes the beautiful things they make and really brings them to life and tell a story with it. But they make that content first, right? So it gives you something to work with.
Exactly. Yeah. And that's what I mean by like the collaborative process. It's super important that they're on board, we're on board, and it really makes everything super seamless.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's true. And I think I always talk to clients about the fact that first month or two is sometimes, it's like dating someone new. You're trying to figure them out and the way they talk and the things they like and their tone of voice. And, Alberta Ballet School has been a long-standing client now. And, at the beginning, it was about learning their style and what made sense. And I think you've done an awesome job at kind of evolving with them and alongside them. And it's been an interesting year for them, but yeah, everyone go check out Alberta Ballet School on Instagram, because that grid is beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
My pride and joy.
Okay. So speaking of social media, things that are beautiful, Cailin, has Peter promoted you on this podcast to content queen? We'll have to discuss this afterwards to see what that role entails. What are your 2021 social media trends that you're really excited about that listeners should know about?
Yeah, I'm really excited to see more shareable content. I feel like that was a real trend kind of the mid to end of 2020, whether that be more user generated content or those really cool carousel heavy text kind of graphics that we've been seeing. Um, I really think that those kind of graphics and that content really get the word out about your brand. So definitely that brand awareness piece is really what stands out for me.
Yes. I know the one that I'm really interested in for 2021 too is just this like concept of the live, anything going live. It's something I'm super intimidated of. I think about one story of when Peter and I were in Mexico. I don't know, I think it was 2 years ago. We had definitely had some drinks and we went live from the lobby bar. And it was like,
Felt like the right thing to do, obviously.
felt like the right
What else would you be doing?
felt right at the time. But even in that moment when you've had some liquid courage, it was, I feel like we didn't really know what to say or do. Yeah, what do you think about the live trend, and how do you think some of our like clients or marketing managers can take advantage of it?
I think it's fun and I think it can definitely be done in the right ways. I love taking like that personalized content and applying it to brands. I love seeing the person behind the brand.
Yeah.
So I think, and I often make the team do things like this where I'll be like, send me pictures of your desk setup for the day, or take a picture of that sunset on your dog walk and let's get that up. Kind of things like that that really show personality, I think are a good place for lives. Whether that be the dog walk or this is my morning routine or kind of whatever. You have to kind of think about what would apply, obviously. But I think really getting that person behind the brand kind of content is a good
Yeah.
place.
I love that as like a tip for people. It's like set up a little, like we have the CIPR work photos chat, and we, you know, Cailin tells us what we need to send and we send her things and try to capture the day. But you've done that with other clients too, where it's like set up that WhatsApp group, shoot pictures to your agency, but like even if you're not working with an agency, just set one up and use it for that kind of content creation. It's so easy to just snap something cool on your phone that's happening. Empowers people without giving them keys to the social media account too, I think.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I also think about Métis Crossing. We kind of have a WhatsApp set up and they will just pop in little things that are happening because obviously I can't be there.
Yeah.
So having that like live content, but maybe it's more of just a static photo, but you still kind of get that live piece. But they do send me videos sometimes too.
Cool.
Yeah, I'm going to jump in on this one too and just say it's a growing, continued trend, I would say, is just authenticity, which is really consistent with what you guys are talking about. But like any kind of company can be authentic. Like even, you know, think about something like a law firm where mostly you're sitting and talking to people or with your head in a book. It's like there's humans in there doing human work, right? It's like show some humans. Be human, right? I mean, I think about a guy like Gary Vee on, you know, on LinkedIn, Vanderchuck, and I mean, like, he just goes live or does a video and talks for 30 seconds about something that's on his mind. And like the guy's incredibly engaging. He does such a good job. And I couldn't even, I mean, I kind of know what he does, but like, it doesn't even matter because I'm just interested in what he says all the time and I'm following him and whatever. And like, if I'm right, like it just works. Right. And that's just how you get people's attention, I think, these days.
Okay, Cailin, give us a challenge. Give Peter and I each a social media on trend challenge for 2021.
Oh my goodness. No, I feel like I've been pushing for that human content, that kind of stuff. And I think like back to, I don't even know when it was, Christina, but you've always kind of talked about this podcast.
It's true.
So I'm super excited about it. I think it's that great way. It's that shareable content that I was talking about. Yeah, so I mean, like, challenge would be to do more. Do those lives. I don't know. But yeah, I'm very excited about what you guys are already doing.
Nice. My encouragement for everyone for video is just do it. I will not as much as I did kind of early in the pandemic, but I try to share videos on my Instagram often of just me talking or sharing my day. And it's intimidating. My advice would be don't watch yourself back and just post it. That's what I do. And it seems to go okay. Peter, any parting words for us?
I guess my advice would be something I've been saying all along throughout these podcast episodes is that, like, when you're thinking about social media or you're thinking about marketing and communications, is like, think about either your personality or the personality of the people on your team or the personality of whoever's going to be doing the work, and make sure you're not trying to like put a square peg in a round hole in terms of like, hey, live, I know live video, everybody's talking about it, but like, if you're not comfortable doing it, like, don't, because you're not going to do it, you're not going to enjoy it. So maybe there's other ways, maybe there's other things, right? Or maybe somebody else on your team can do it. So think about the personality of maybe the right personality to be doing this if it's not you, or what is the right kind of methods to use to fit your personality for it to be comfortable, because the more natural and comfortable it's going to be, the more successful I think you're going to be.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I'd never asked Brad from our team to go live, but he does take a killer sunset photo.
Nice.
It's
Well, Cailin, thank you so much for coming on for this bonus episode. And everyone, remember, social, important part of your strategy. Think strategically about it. And, you know, great tips today in terms of content generation and what to try to kind of think outside the box for 2021.
Thank you for having me.
Anytime.
Bye, everybody.